But here we are. I think we're off and running. Hopefully everyone can hear us. And thank you all for joining us. As I said previously, good to see some familiar names from all over the state, our community partners and statewide leaders. Just really happy to be with you this morning to have this discussion, to talk about the Office of Broadband and our next steps, which involves all of you. We are going to be discussing today the Broadband Planning Toolkit, which, by the way, is not concrete. Our staff has been working on that very closely with other stakeholders across the state. We took some feedback that we got from all of you through our Regional Planning Council webinars earlier in the year, and we want to present that with you today, but we will be taking back feedback and making sure that we collaborate on how this will actually fit in to the next steps with the Office of Broadband and our statutory requirements. So we have with us today Meredith Ivy, our Chief of Staff, as well as Katie Smith, who oversees the Office of Broadband as the Director of the Office of Community Partnerships, and they'll be leading us through the presentation. Take it away, ladies.
Thank you, Secretary. Again, my name is Meredith Ivy, Chief of Staff here at DEO, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. To reiterate the Secretary's comments, today is a kickoff to start proactively engaging with all of our partners across the state. Katie and her team are doing that for the better part of the year, but we're ramping up these efforts, and all the materials you see today are meant to be helpful guidance. As the Secretary said, these are very much living documents, and we hope to get your guidance and feedback over the upcoming months. So I'll give a brief overview of the Office of Broadband, and then Katie's going to dive into some of the finer details. Here in the state of Florida, we recognize the need for the expansion of our broadband infrastructure, and there is the need in both rural and urban communities, and that is something we recognize here at DEO. So we look forward to working with our partners in our rural and urban communities. The Florida legislature established the Office of Broadband in July of 2020 to work with local and state government agencies, community organizations, and private businesses to increase the availability and effectiveness of broadband internet throughout the state. Many Floridians across the state have struggled to gain access to the highest level of education, healthcare, retail, and other services due to internet access. Access issues are not unique to one community. Internet availability and access, again, encompasses our rural and urban communities throughout our state. Broadband's potential to connect people and ideas at speed of light offers opportunities and abilities for all Floridians. And I think we can all agree, especially over the course of the past year, access to internet has become more pressing than ever before. We are going to be working with Florida counties to develop effective and comprehensive strategic broadband initiatives at the local level that take advantage of federal, state, and other grant opportunities. Excuse me. The most critical component of this comprehensive effort is coordination between Florida's local technology planning teams, once established, and the Department of Economic Opportunities Office of Broadband. And as you can see on the slide, it's section 288.9961 Florida statutes, which directs the Office of Broadband to build and facilitate local technology planning teams, which shall work with communities. And Katie will dive into those local technology planning teams in a moment. We encourage you to review and provide feedback on the upcoming presentation by Friday, October 15th. Again, just want to reiterate the point that what Katie is about to walk you through is a living document. We want your feedback and ideas, but we do have some deadlines to meet. So we are hoping that following today's presentation, you will email us or call us, Katie's team, by October 15th. So with that, I'll hand it over to Katie.
Thank you, Meredith. So the toolkit today is really to provide the local technology planning teams a resource to determine the current broadband needs in their communities, and whether that is a county or a region. It's also to help increase the accessibility and availability of broadband services in Florida communities, and it provides a step-by-step process on how to establish and facilitate the planning teams, the conversation starters, and the guides and surveys for data collection. So this is a 9-step process. So let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into that process. So One, your local technology planning team leaders are encouraged to engage their county or region's community stakeholders in the ongoing broadband planning efforts. And this initial community outreach and engagement includes identifying community stakeholders and industry sector leaders, recruiting team members, strengthening those community relationships, and building partnerships, and so much more. These are really important to the areas that we want to hold these meetings. So we look forward to your engagement. Assembling a team is step 2. So DEO is the facilitating agency, but we're looking to implement these teams on a county or a regional basis. And these counties can partner with the municipalities that are within their counties. They can partner with neighboring counties, or they can partner with, on a regional basis, such as a rural area of opportunity or other regional organization. Okay. So sector participation. We are noted in statute to the industry sectors that are listed here on the slide in front of you. Those include libraries, K-12 education, healthcare providers and private business, tourism, community organizations, economic development organizations, and agriculture, local governments, parks and recreation, and internet service providers.
And you'll notice on the slide that recommendations are, Katie, we're asking those to be submitted to DEO by November 30th. So that's a detail on the slide I hope y'all will pencil down.
Thank you, Meredith.
You're welcome.
So step 3 is to identify the community priorities. And it's really important to do this to develop an understanding of the broadband-related strengths and weaknesses in your county or region, and provide a benchmark for the evaluation of further progress. The purpose of step 3 is to identify and assess the following goals of the state for broadband efforts: the current status of broadband availability, how the county or region's role in meeting those broadband expansion goals are inclusive, and also it will include the existing public and private maps of the Federal Communications Commission, internet service providers, and other services that are offered in the area. Step 4, we want to harness the data. And to do that, it's important to have the public's opinion on topics of these community needs, the broadband consumption and utilization in the area, and expansion efforts using surveys. The toolkit suggests various tools and surveys that may be used by the counties or regions to harness the county's data. And these tools include, but are not limited to, the information that is included in the toolkit. Considering digital inclusion. So step 5 really directs the teams to consider the digital inclusion aspect. And what this means is the activities and equipment required to ensure that all individuals and communities, including the most disadvantaged, have access to and utilize broadband-enabled networks. The local technology planning teams will identify aspects of digital inclusion that require attention in their county or region. And these efforts will allow the teams to develop programs and policies to mitigate their area's challenges surrounding digital inclusion and literacy. When assessing digital inclusion, it's really important to identify individuals and communities that are struggling to access robust and affordable broadband connections. It's important to look at internet-enabled devices that meet their needs, as well as the skills to explore, create, and collaborate in the digital world. So step 6 is assess your resources and infrastructure. And what this is to propose that the teams assess broadband resources and current infrastructure. Through this assessment, local technology planning teams members can compare existing resources with the needs of households and businesses to shape broadband planning. And they do this through the identification of gaps in the current broadband infrastructure. Two ways that we suggest doing this is using a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges analysis, as well as a broadband planning inventory. Your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenge analysis, or SWOT analysis, is a strategic planning exercise that's designed to help identify broadband availability, accessibility, and adoption issues that will be considered high priority for the development of strategic goals and objectives. And the broadband planning inventory involves recording physical facilities and community resources across both public and private sectors that are available to support broadband deployment. Step 7, engage local internet service providers. We really encourage, and it is imperative to have the internet service providers in that area participating in the meetings. They can provide and help identify solutions and ideas that will help bridge that digital divide in the community. And they are a very great resource to have. In step 8, we want to evaluate the solutions. And what we want to do is gather as much information as possible during these team meetings, such as listing technologies and strategies for the expansion of internet services, short-term and long-term considerations, and areas of importance for your area, for your region or your county. We do encourage that those solutions and that summary be submitted to the office for future use. And the final step here for the local technology planning team is to evaluate your solutions. The team will review the initial findings, the priorities, potential goals and objectives, and the timelines and resources needed. At this point, several potential strategic directions and initiatives should be identified, reviewed, and discussed with the teams, and then incorporated into that final summary. And once the teams have gathered and reviewed those solutions and have effectively got a plan in place to further implement the broadband in their community. It's intended to be a working document. It is intended to be living and continually added to. We highly encourage the communities continue the conversation and continue to have meetings within their county or region. Additional resources are available within the Broadband Toolkit. We have Broadband 101, which provides some general overview of what broadband is, definitions. We have the SWOT analysis and broadband planning inventories documents that will help get that process going. We have sample surveys included, conversation starters, as well as other resources that will be available that are currently on our website, www.floridajobs.org/broadband. And what that includes are statewide survey results, the Florida Regional Broadband Workshop Summary and Recordings, a list of available funding opportunities, both state and federal, and a comprehensive broadband availability map from the National Telecommunications and Information Administration.
Thank you, Katie, for all the detailed information, which will be available following the webinar. Just wanted to quickly go over the impacts of broadband. There are some central tenets that we here at DEO are keeping top of mind throughout this process: enhanced economic development, disaster resilience, enhanced healthcare, educational support, increased adoption and utilization, digital inclusion, digital literacy, and improved infrastructure and technology. Again, this is a statewide effort. We are looking at our rural and urban centers across the state. The success of expanding broadband access in communities is really reliant on our partnership here at DEO with all of you. We want your collaboration. We want your feedback. I know y'all probably have a lot of questions, and there is going to be a lot of time for that. I think we can all agree that broadband allows people more affordable and efficient access to basic amenities for technology-driven Florida with enhanced economic development and across the spectrum. I think broadband will also support Governor DeSantis's efforts as we look to improve our workforce training opportunities, our education opportunities, our healthcare access. I think we are all unified and working toward this goal, and we cannot do that with all of you. The practice of planning has shown that it can have a significant positive impact on accessibility and availability of broadband for all of our municipalities, counties, regions, and the state. A greater understanding of the accessibility and availability of broadband in your county or region, and the development and implementation of strategies to bridge the digital divide will positively impact not only other counties, but also the entire region and the entire state. So we're going to bring up our last slide. Do want to give a few acknowledgments today. Our office has been collaborating with partners across, not only here in Florida with our private industry partners, our counties and our local municipalities, but also some national partners, including Broadband USA, West Virginia Department of Economic Development, and North Carolina Department of Information Technology. If there are any other partners, in addition to just giving us feedback today on the toolkit, if there are any other entities or partners within the state or outside the state that you think would be good touch points for us, please share that information. So how we're going to do it today is if you have feedback on the toolkit or just stakeholder engagement, if you want to request a meeting or technical assistance call, please email us at broadband@deo.myflorida.com. Again, that's broadband@deo.myflorida.com. As far as the toolkit goes, we are asking for all feedback and edits or suggested edits by October 15th, close of business on October 15th. Again, you will send it to that same email. Following the webinar today, we're going to email out this slide deck and the toolkit so you can have that starting point to provide that feedback. So again, we sent this invite far and wide. We're so thankful for your participation today. Now is the time to engage with us and give us your honest feedback so we can incorporate that and move forward in a measured way that's going to achieve real results. This is a top priority for our governor, the legislature, and of course, Secretary Eagle, who's helping spearhead this effort with Katie. So with that, we hope to hear from you soon, and thank you for your time today.